So we are working on our Stripes on Umbrella site still, yep. And what I have to realize is yesterday we left off, and you will notice it should still have your Assets panel up on the right-hand side. We need to get back to your Files panel, so you can go ahead and click on the Files panel there, and then you can go ahead and open up your index page. Okay. One of the things that we need to realize is we went through, right at the very end of the hour yesterday, we set our horizontal rule to match the exact width of our banner, okay? Because we know we'd like it to go across that far, and our banner image size was 950 pixels, so we then, right at the very end of the hour, changed our horizontal rule to 950, and we did that right within code. We could actually type right in within our code aspect. The other thing I want to point out is if we look here, it says the copyright for this page is 2002 to 2013, and it was last updated on January 1st, 2013. What we need to do is, obviously, we've been updating this page, right? And anytime we save the page, I want it to automatically have that date. I don't want to remember every day to go through and update this, because we have better things to do with that, okay? So we're going to go ahead and we're going to update the copyright information. Go ahead and change that from 2002 to 2013 to 2016. And I want you to completely highlight January 1st, 2013 and hit delete. So that's gone. I'm going to make sure I have a space, though, after the word on. Okay, so January 1st, 2013 is gone. I'm going to make sure there's a space. Bless you. And what I'm going to do is we're going to insert a date. I'm not going to type today's date. I'm going to use a command within Dreamweaver to have it go through and automatically update the date every time we save the page. Okay, so to do that, we're going to go ahead and over here on the common ribbon, we have date. And when you click on that, a pop-up window is going to appear. Bless you. That's a lot of sneezes. So once you clicked on common and found the date, we have a choice here of going through and choosing the type of date, how we want it to appear. And we're going to choose the very top one that has the month spelled out, the number of the day, comma, and the year. We're going to select that, but don't hit OK yet, because what we want to do is we want to go through and make sure we check here on the bottom. It says update automatically on save. So I'm going to click on that and then click on OK. And then you will notice that my date is down here on the very bottom. Now, to us viewing it, it doesn't really look any different than January 1st, 2013 when it was on there before. But if I take a look at my code, you will see that my code line actually says I have begin date, format, and all that. So we actually have a code in there that's going to automatically update that any time that this page is going to be saved. So if you go through and open this up on Monday, make a change to it, save it, it's going to automatically update to Monday's date, to the 18th. Anytime you do through anything on the page, you save it, that date will be on there for you. When we first started talking about Dreamweaver, we went through and I talked about this bar here on the bottom. This section right here goes through and shows us what this page would look like on a screen that is set up that way. And one of the things you have to realize is we're a little spoiled in here in our classroom because our monitors are ginormous. How would our striped umbrella page view on a tablet? How long is that image up top? 950 pixels. Is that going to fit on my tablet when it's in portrait mode? Portrait mode? No. Probably not even horizontal mode either, because 950 pixels is kind of long. So what does that mean is going to happen for my, I'm going to have a scrolling left to right. one of the things that we can do is we can go through and preview our page to see what it looks like in different size resolutions right here for how it would be rendering. So all you have to do on the very bottom is go ahead and click here, and then you could go ahead and choose what it would look like on a smartphone. And it really changes the size of your page. So you can go through and look at it and see what they look like at different sizes. What would it look like in a tablet? Is that helpful? Okay. It gives you an idea what it would look like. Again, all you have to do is just choose here. It's better than you trying to estimate what it is, Jeremy, right? Okay. So taking a look here, it gives you your pixel sizes of what it would render to. Yep. Well, now you take a look at there are smartphones right now that are the size of this tablet. But at least you can get an idea of how it's going to be going through and rendering. Okay. And if you go to full size, it will really just take up the space that you have on there. But don't forget, you have to design your page for how you think it's going to be viewed, and you have to be aware of what it's going to be looking like on there. Okay, the next thing that we want to do is we want to go through and we want to test our pages to make sure that how it looks in our browser. So we have to do a little bit of work on this because mine is already set up this way, but yours isn't. Okay, so what we have up here is I have this option right here where it says Preview, Debug, in Browser, and there's a drop-down window. And from that drop-down window, I have Preview Firefox, Internet Explorer, Chrome, Device Central, and Preview Adobe Lab Browser. What's the first one that comes up for you? Firefox? Which one has F12 next to it? Internet Explorer. So basically, for you, your default browser right now for it to open in is Internet Explorer. So we're going to change that. So all you have to do is go right here to go to Edit Browser List. And you're going to get this pop-up window, correct? So you are going to choose Chrome, and you're going to check to make sure that is the primary browser. And then when you do that, it should have F12 next to it. Would you agree? And then you can go ahead and click on OK. And here, this is how nice it's going to work. So all you'd have to do, if you wanted to see what this looks like in a browser, you can physically hit the F12 key right now, or you can click on this little globe. It's going to say, do you want to save changes? We'll say yes, and then it will launch your browser for you. To make sure it renders correctly in a browser versus what it looks like in Dreamweaver. The other thing that we need to do is we need to check our pages. Then you'd have to go back and check your code. So look here. We're going to check our links. Right now, all we've done is put images on. We have worked on our index page and what other page? SPA. So I should be able to click on SPA, and SPA should work. Do any other pages work? You should be able to click on About Us, and then right here, it should say aboutus.html. There's nothing on there because we haven't done that page. Same thing for Cafe. And use the browser back button, and then you can go to Activities, just to make sure that you have them linked correctly. Home should take you to index.html. So this is also a chance for you to double check that you have your links done correctly. We always want to make sure before you publish a page that you're going to go through and make sure that everything works correctly in a browser. You don't want to publish it and then you have your customer saying this doesn't work or that doesn't work. You design, test, modify, and go through and make sure that everything is working correctly. Okay? The last step that we are going to be doing is we are actually going to take and publish this to the spot where I can grade it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
If you are not ready for this because you were gone on Wednesday, don't do this step, but watch to see how to do this step. Okay, so I'm going to go back to Dreamweaver. You will recall when we defined our site for Striped Umbrella, we set up our local site, which is where we work, and we also set up our remote site. And the remote site was that assignment submit folder, and you created a folder for Striped Umbrella. And basically, I need to know when your page is ready for me to grade. Okay? I'm not going to go under your H drive and look at your Striped Umbrella and say, is it done, is it not done? Basically, when you are done, we're going to be doing two things. You are going to turn into me the grading rubric form, so I can then know, when you put it in the basket, that's my visual clue. Hey, Clayton wants me to grade his Striped Umbrella. Okay? Then the other thing is you need to go through and you publish it to that site. It's no different than when Nike's going to roll out a new site. They actually have to launch it out for everyone to do. When you publish it, you are basically telling me, hey, please take a look and grade it. Can you publish it again later over that? Yes. So you can always republish and go over like, oh, I made a mistake and republish. It's fine. You don't need to tell me anything new. It'll just be on there. So how we go through and do that is we have us under here, we have site, and we have these buttons right here called get and put. Now think about it. The word get, what does that mean? So it's someplace else, and you want it from someplace else to here. Is that what we want to do? We need to take our information and do what? We have to put it somewhere. Does that make sense? So when you think about taking your site and you're getting ready, you have to put. So if I go right here and click on put, the first thing that pops up is it's going to ask you, do you want to put dependent files? Do we have any dependent files? Yes. We also have something else. Besides About Us, what else are dependent files? The Word document's not dependent? Pictures are dependent. So if I don't put the dependent files with it, the page would go out, but the Striped Umbrella banner wouldn't be there, and that spa logo would not go out there. So it's going to ask you, do you want to put your dependent files? And you should say, oh, yeah. Where did my error message go? All right. So I'm going to go back to site, and I'm going to go to put again. It says, do you want to? I'm going to say yes. Then I'm like, all right, how do I know it's done, right? The other thing you can do over here on the right-hand side, I'll show you a couple different ways of doing it. So I went to put. What page did I put? Index, because that's what I had open. Did we work on other pages? What other page did we work on? Spa, right? So as we work on a site, sometimes it gets hard to remember which pages I did. So sometimes it's helpful, instead of putting each page out, page by page, we'll actually select and put the whole site, because we're like, all right, this is what we're doing. But sometimes you don't need to do the whole site. Sometimes it's like, I'm just updating activities, and I'm just going to put that out on the server. But we know right now we have to put our whole site. So over here on the right-hand side, I'm going to select that top folder under my Assets panel. Do you see how it's highlighted in blue? And I am actually going to put that. And the easiest way to put that is really in your Assets panel. You have a Get button, and you have a Put button. So I am going to click on Put, and it's going to tell me, are you sure you want to put this entire site? And I'm going to say, oh, yeah, I'm sure. The other thing that we want to do is we want to double check, did it really go? Because sometimes you're like, how do I know? So right here, you have this button. And it says expand to show local and remote sites. And when you click on it, you have to read what it says. It tells me This is my remote server. So what's the remote server? Where you turn things in for me to grade. This side over here on the right says local files. Right now it's really easy because I'm like, oh look, spa's there, spa's there. But eventually, if you don't put your entire site out, how you can tell is you would look at the date. So spa here was updated on 4/14, but here, if the dates didn't match, so let me show you an example. I'm going to go, you don't have to do this, I just want to show you how you can check. I'm going to open up spa. I'm going to save that. Can you see the difference now? On my local site, SPA was saved on 4/15, but what's published to the web is the 14th. So that's how you can compare to see, is what I have done out there for Mrs. Grassel to grade, or is what I have done out there for the world to see for my web pages? Again, just going through and comparing. And if it's not, you can, in this view right now, select whatever page you want, and you can put it as well. So all I would have to do right now and say, oh, I have to update SPA because I see it's not selected right, or it's not updated, so I would select it, and I would put it. Defendant files, yes. Hit refresh, and then you can see my date has changed, and now they match. You can also drag this out a little bit further to see all of the numbers to make sure that it really does match up. So that's going to be how you turn your site into me, as well as a piece of paper so I can go through and grade them. Two things, because otherwise if I don't have the piece of paper, I'm saying, Kendra, are you good? Riley, are you good? Preston, are you good? And then I got to remember where we're at. So I'm not going to be able to go through and just do a quick check on the screen anymore, because I'm going to need to check links and make sure that everything is going, so I have to spend a little more time looking on my computer. Questions on that? Yes, Madison. Okay. I'll be up there in just a moment. Any questions on me demoing this right now?